Welcome to another video of Improv Labs video tutorials. In this video we're going to talk about Remote Desktop, which is another feature that comes with Windows XP Professional. And you would be able to, with a Remote Desktop, you would be able to take control over any computer that you want to. And it's completely similar to the Remote Desktop that we had in Remote Assistance and actually NetMeeting, but the difference is that when you connect to the other computer with Remote Desktop, both users at the same time will be able to view what's going on. So actually the other user, when I connect to the other computer with Remote Desktop, the user that is logged on to that computer and machine over there will be completely logged off, forced to be logged off. And so I could actually remotely connect to that computer. So only one person in between would be able to see what's going on the computer, and that would be the person that's initiating the connection. Okay, so let's go. I've created a list here. What we would need to actually connect with a Remote Desktop connection. First of all, we would need an IP address. If it's local or public, we would actually expand that and talk about it later. We would need a user with administrative rights, or if we don't have a user passport, user and password, user and related password, user and pass of which the user has administrative rights, or a normal user without administrative rights which has been allowed access to connect remotely. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the IP address, and finally we will talk about the users and so on. Okay, I've created another table here that shows you the way that you can connect to the internet. Well, we have 4 type of connections. Before that, computers on the left side are the computers that we initiate our connection. Computers that are on the right hand side are the computers that we want to connect to remotely. Computers that we are initiating the connection should be XP Professional or Vista. The computers that we are connecting to could be 95, Windows 98, 2000 XP Home, XP Professional, or Windows Vista. Okay, well, the first situation that we have, they are 2 computers connected to the internet. What we need is only the IP address, the public IP address of this computer, and that's all we need, with the user with administrative rights or the normal user with the access to Remote Desktop. So what we're worried about now is the IP address. The public IP address of this computer, we need it, okay, to simply be able to Remote Desktop to this computer through the internet. The second one, where you want to Remote Desktop to a network, okay. For instance, this is a VPN server. For those who know what we are talking about, what is a VPN server? For the person that wants to connect to a network, would simply connect to a VPN server and simply connect to that computer that he wants to. When you connect to the VPN server, actually a tunnel would be made here between you and the VPN server. You would be part of the network here on the right hand side, and finally you would be able to Remote Desktop to that computer with the aid of the IP address, the local IP address, or either with the aid of the name of the computer. Okay, so let's go on to the second one. If you're trying to Remote Desktop to another computer over the same local area network, you're both on the same network, what you need is the local IP address, the computer name, and the domain name. Actually, the local IP address or the computer name and the domain name. Okay, so, and the fourth one, which if you're on a local, you're on a work group, you would definitely need the local IP address and the work group name. Okay, so that's about it. So first of all, again, let's repeat this. If you're only 2 computers connecting to each other, you only need the public IP address of this computer. If you're a user connecting to an organization and connected through a VPN server, you would need the public IP address of the VPN server with the user and so on. If you're connecting to another computer over the LAN network, the only thing you would need is the local IP address or the computer name and the domain name. What you would need if you're on a work group is the local IP address or the computer name. Okay, so that's about it. And let's close this and let's go and talk about the users. Okay, first of all, as I said, we need a user with administrative rights, or either a normal user that has been added to the remote desktop users access list. Okay, let's go to client 2. Client 1 is the computer that I'm going to be initiating the connection. Client 2, which it's here right now, it's the computer that I'm going to be connecting to. So the computer that we're going to be connecting to, we need a user from this computer. Let's go to control panel and let's go to users, user accounts. Here we have Jane. She's a computer administrator. But what if we had another user, for example Mike, and he wasn't a computer administrator, he was a limited and normal user. Okay, so things change. So keep in mind, Mike is a normal user, Jane is a computer administrator. Now let's go to see how we allow access to them. Let's go to Start, My Computer, right click on it, and finally Properties. There's a remote tab here, as you see here. Click on it, and here you have to have this checkbox checked, so user would be simply connected to you. Okay, now here comes the users. If the user has administrative rights, by simply just checking this box, he would be or she would be completely able to connect to your computer. But if it's a normal user, you have to come here and select and add the normal user to the list, so he would be able to connect to that computer as well. So I would come here, enter Mike, and click OK, and Mike would be added. Mike would be able to connect to this computer as well. Okay, so that's about it. Let's go and create a connection. Let's go to client. Okay, one other thing before we go to client, when I create the connection, make sure go to Windows Firewall, go to Start, Control Panel. On Windows Firewall here, make sure first of all this Don't Allow Exceptions tab checkbox is not checked. Like this, leave it like this. Go to Exceptions tab, and see if Remote Desktop is in your list. If it's there, okay, it's a good thing. If it's not, simply what you have to do is just go to Add Programs and find the Remote Desktop. If it's in this list, simply add it. If not, simply just browse for it and add it again. Okay, so Windows Firewall would not be blocking you